The classical saxophone today is primarily divided into two schools, the American school and the French school. In France, the students of Marcel Mule are clearly leading the way. Daniel Defaillet took over the position of professor of saxophone at the Paris Conservatory in 1966 through to 1988, at which point Claude Delong took the position, which he still holds today. Another Mule student, Jean-Marie Landex, took the position of professor of saxophone at the Bordeaux Conservatory. Jean-Marie Landex has had students including Russell Peterson and Christian Lauber. Jean-Marie Landex is particularly interested in the extended techniques available on the saxophone, and as such has worked with composers to develop pieces that utilize these techniques, including Lauber and Denisov. He has also published the pedagogical book Hello, Mr. Sax, which instructs students how to utilize these extended techniques. In 1971, French saxophonists formed the French Association of Saxophonists. In America, Larry Teal opened the first saxophone class at the university level in 1953 at the University of Michigan. Here he also developed the first doctoral program in saxophone in America. Larry Teal has taken great responsibility to provide pedagogical resources for his own students, for students of his students, and for other saxophone students across the globe. This includes the art of saxophone playing, which is used in almost every saxophone studio today. Many of Larry Teal's students have gone on to become saxophone professors that are still teaching across the US today. These include Don Sinter, who took over his position at the University of Michigan, Lynn Clark, who teaches at the University of Massachusetts, and Stephen Mork, who teaches at the University of Ithaca. Another important American saxophonist who helped to establish the saxophone as a classical instrument in the States was Cecil Leeson, who made his first public debut in 1937 in New York City Hall. This was the first time that the saxophone was heard in this venue, and he performed works that were written for him by Paul Creston and Lawson Lundy. Both of these works have become firm staples in the saxophone repertoire. Further developments in the classical saxophone in the United States include the establishment of a World Saxophone Congress. The first Congress was held in Chicago in 1969 and was led by Eugene Rousseau, former student of Marcel Mule, and Paul Brody. In 1976, the North American Saxophone Alliance was established, led by the leadership of Frederick Hemke, former student of Moore. This alliance regularly meets and is dedicated to the promotion of the saxophone as a classical instrument. In 1980, the Saxophone Journal, a monthly publication of saxophone articles and scholarship, was released for the first time and is read across the world today. When initially inventing the saxophone, Adolphe Sax intended the saxophone to be an orchestral voice. There have been some compositions written for the orchestra that include saxophone, including works by Ravel, Rachmaninoff, Prokofiev, and Vaughan Williams. However, it seems to be as a solo instrument that the saxophone is finding its home. As saxophone players, teachers, and composers improve and refine their styles and discover new possibilities on the instrument, many interesting and different works are being written for the saxophone. Saxophone players take it on themselves to be more than just players. Saxophonists tend to be performers, pedagogues, historians, and composers. And perhaps it is because the saxophone has not found one single genre that saxophone performers are more inclined to discover new styles. It is uncertain where the saxophone is heading in the future. However, it is easy to say that if Adolphe Sax was alive today, who died a penniless man in 1894, that he would be impressed, overwhelmed, and extremely happy by the success of his saxophone.